Sorry about that. I don't know what was wrong with my sound. I apologize. Well, welcome to Ask Dr. Geier Live. I won't go through all my explanation. It is Memphis Grizzlies night. That's what I was talking about mostly. That's all you really missed. I was talking about how it's Game 6 of the playoffs, and I'm really, really excited for my Grizzlies to hopefully close this out. Always remember, this is not meant for... Thank you, Georgia. I appreciate it. This is meant for general information and educational purposes only. I haven't seen you and examined you and looked at x-rays, MRIs, that kind of thing. Now, if you have more of a need than just kind of getting general information and you do want to see me as a patient, there's information that links to my website, drdavidgeier.com, and you can go to the contact page and fill out this little... I don't know what you'd call it, this little form, I guess, that we built on the website that you can request an appointment, and we can touch base with you about how to come to Charleston and potentially do that. Otherwise, there's ways I can work with people in terms of coaching online, but I'm not treating you in that scenario. So please remember, I'm not giving you medical advice, but if you have an orthopedic question, this is your chance to do it. If you have an injury question about surgery, recovery, you want to talk about some of these innovative treatments, this is your chance to do it. The only time that I answer questions each week due to my schedule and legal reasons and everything else. So I will stay as long as there are questions. Could be really short, could be really long, for what that's worth. All right. Sorry about that, Robert. Yeah, I was having some lighting and 113, and I would appreciate it if you'd give your name and your location. I know where a handful of you are, but feel free to share that as well. But 113, I'll get to your question in a second. I've been having issues with my key lights this morning. For whatever reason, they have become disconnected from the wireless that the whole TV studio is on. And I really struggle. I still don't have it. I just managed to turn them on and keep them on. But in the process of that, I think it turned off my mic. So I apologize for that 2 minutes or so that I was just going on, and you saw my mouth moving, and you saw me hold up my growl towel. And you couldn't hear it. So anyway, all right, here we go. Finish your final surgery exam, only remain your state exam. Tell me a little bit more about that. I am curious. Family doctor, occupational health specialist. That's right. I do remember this discussion. Yeah. So that is the, do you go do orthopedic surgery and then do you do an orthopedic sports medicine fellowship, which is the way I do it, or I did it way back long time ago, or do you do a primary care field like pediatrics, like family medicine, like physical medicine and rehabilitation, occasionally internal medicine or emergency medicine, and then you do a primary care sports medicine fellowship. That is awesome. Really, really excited for you as far as that's a big process. It's worth it. Whether you're an orthopedic surgeon doing sports medicine, and just yesterday, one of the reasons I missed my Better Than Ever live show yesterday is I was seeing a professional tennis player who was in town, and I've taken care of her for a while, and just something came up at the last minute and had to help her, which maybe not be able to get here for the show, but it's great kind of working with athletes however it is. Primary care, it's going to be more medical, more concussion, that kind of thing, but you still do some musculoskeletal stuff, or if you're an orthopedic surgeon, you're dealing with the bone and joint issues. Can I offer advice other than cardiology, internal organ before sports medicine? I'm not 100% sure I understand what that means. If that means like what you would do outside of sports medicine, I really feel like it depends on your training. If your family medicine, you're sort of equipped to do a little bit of everything, but you're not really specialized in any one thing. Yes, there are sports cardiologists, not a whole lot of those. There are sports neurologists, there are sports psychologists, so you can really specialize in that, but typically that's not so much pediatrics or family medicine. You're a neurologist and then you sort of get involved with sports. You're a psychologist or psychiatrist, you get involved with sports, that kind of thing. So if that's not what you're asking, definitely feel free to ask it in a different way. Mary says, starting back in the gym Monday with a trainer, what are the best things to start with? 2 knee I did a Better Than Ever live show maybe 2 weeks ago where I talked about whether running specifically makes arthritis worse. Now, I'm not saying we're talking about running, but I have never been a big believer, and the science supports this, that running does not make arthritis worse. And I would argue that's really true with any types of arthritis. But I do generally recommend people work back into exercise slowly and find a type of exercise that works best for you, what you like to do, what gives you the best workouts, what bothers, in this case, your hips and knees the least, that kind of thing. And it takes a little bit of trial and error, to be fair. Now, most joint replacement surgeons are not big fans of impact activity or impact exercise for people with hip and knee replacement. So that's running, that is box jump and plyometric training, that kind of thing. But I would say weight-bearing exercise generally is good, because typically if you have osteoarthritis, you get to an advanced age, you start to get decreased bone density, which puts you at risk for fracture. So weight-bearing exercise can be really good. Some form of resistance training, whether it's dumbbells, weights, machines, resistance bands, I'm a big fan of. And if cardiovascular exercise, which is very important, it bothers you to do things where you're up on your feet a lot, long distance walking, that kind of thing, maybe you look for less impact activities, elliptical, stationary bikes, swimming, walking in the pool, that kind of thing. There's a lot of different ways to do it, so it really depends on what your goals are, how things feel as you go back to do them, and work into them slowly. Peter, okay, so 1/3, I will remember that. Peter is from Hungary. If you go to I was talking about it, maybe this was before I went off. There's a website below in the description below. It takes you to my contact page. That gets to me and my assistant, and we can help however you need. Georgia's from Greece. Yeah, we talked a little bit about this. You did have your ACL surgery. Fantastic. So if that was this Tuesday, you were 3 days out. So you were probably focusing on getting your knee all the way straight, which is critically important in the first few days after ACL surgery. One of the mistakes I see people make is they put a pillow under their knee, which keeps their knee a little bent, and then it's hard to get it all the way straight. So if anything, put the pillow or pillows under your foot with nothing under your knee. Really work on getting it all the way flat, but you're also working on getting the swelling down with ice or some sort of cold therapy device, and getting your quad strength back, which laying on the couch involves a lot of things like trying to straight leg raise, just lifting it off the couch, off the sofa, off the bed, wherever. One of the interesting things about that is for about 3 or 4 days, especially if you had a nerve block, that's really hard to do a straight leg raise, but keep at it. The more you work on it, the faster that comes back, and the faster your quad strength comes back, the better your knee's gonna feel. So just some things to think about for the first few days after surgery. All right, Catherine says, bad knees, osteoarthritis, doctor recommends replacement on the right, losing 35 pounds. That's fantastic, trying to avoid it. Can you do a stationary bike for exercise? Absolutely. That gets back to, I don't know if this is something you're interested in, but I want to say it was like April 14th, I did a Better Than Ever live show where I dispelled that notion that running is bad for your knees. I would argue no exercise is bad for your knees. You sometimes have to tweak it if something causes a lot of pain, but typically no. At stationary bike, there's really no loading of the joint, so it shouldn't bother people too much. You might feel, if you have significant arthritis, you might feel some popping and grinding, and maybe bending your knee all the way back might bother you. So some people will lift the seat of the bike up a little bit, but typically no. The more exercise, the better. Really proud of you, the weight loss. I think that's really a good thing. And I am for doing everything you can to avoid hip and knee replacement. I've sort of debated, and I might do it at some point, like a long talk, or a long video, really going into why joint replacement isn't really the best, especially first option for arthritis. What arthritis really is, hint, it's not really a wear and tear problem like you hear so often, the tread on a tire analogy, not terribly accurate, and what it really is and how you can stop that process to hopefully avoid surgery. So maybe I'll talk about that soon. India, this is Rushan from India. Really, Did not mean to minimize that. Sorry about that. Let's try to get that back. He says, had ACL reconstruction a year and a half ago, knees not in full perfect condition. What can I do? Well, it's hard to say without kind of knowing what the condition is. A year and a half out, it's really hard to get any motion that you don't have back. Is really hard to get that back now. One of the keys to ACL recovery is getting your motion back. You're getting it all the way straight, getting it all the way bent, really within the first 6 weeks or so of the surgery. It gets much, much harder after that. Same with getting your strength back. You really want to try to get that back in about the first 3 months, but that's something people can still kind of work on. The biggest thing that I see, because I get so many second opinions of people that haven't really done well or didn't really like what they were told by another orthopedic surgeon, where I'd get second opinions for people after an ACL that said their knee just didn't feel right, is that most of them, or at least a large percentage of them, did not do what we call sport-specific physical therapy or sport-specific rehab. So this usually starts around 3 or 4 months after surgery, and this is the ability to jump off of that injured knee, the ability to land on that injured knee, the ability to turn on it, doing more specific motions than walking or exercise, weight strengthening things. So that's where that can be really helpful. And there are a lot of good physical therapists that are really, really good at sport-specific rehab. So that sometimes can be really helpful. Georgia says, why the comments are so small? I apologize. Got it straight. It hurts a bit. Can lift it, bend it, and walk with crutches. Hey, you're off to a good start. This is not medical advice. I haven't seen you, but that sounds like right where you want to be. And you are very welcome. I'm glad this is helpful. And Peter says, not so long, 3 years family doctor. It's 3 years here too to get to after medical school to do family medicine residency. 2 years of sports medicine. Now that's longer than typically in the United States. In the United States, usually fellowships are just 1 year. But good luck with all that. And he also says he has a humeral plate from arm wrestling. That's a big surgery, actually. You make a big incision over, usually over the triceps, and you split it, and you have to find the radial nerve and put a plate on it. And not a lot of humeral shaft fractures need surgery, so that's a really tough thing. The good thing is that surgery works really well for the people that need it. All right, what else? That is all I see, unless I am missing them. And again, I apologize for the sound early. Just one of those things on days that you have technical problems. I apologize for that. I will be here both Tuesday. We're going to do the same topics that should have been yesterday afternoon. We're going to do those on Tuesday, and then I will be here Thursday and again next Friday for Ask Dr. Geier Live. Really, really appreciate you all being here. And again, if you have any questions, make sure to join us every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't anticipate missing anytime soon. There's one in July I know I'm going to miss, but that should be about it. So very, very grateful you're here. Yes, please do. And thank you so much. I appreciate everybody with the nice words that I get in these live chats. I am happy to help. All right, I will be back Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend. Take care.